Hello, everyone. Even as I stand on stage today in front of you all, let me tell you frankly, doubt assailed me. Why me? Am I someone who's got something to say was my first question, especially coming onto the stage after such people of acclaim. But I think I'm going backwards. Let me start where this began. So when the TEDx MGMU team reached out to me to invite me as an achiever of my field, the fact that the TED platform had come to me was awesomely exciting. I was fired up with ideas. Should I talk about architecture, my life, my achievements? And then slowly and surely, doubt started setting in. Why me? Why was I asked? What possibly could I have that I could say? Or what are my attributes so much that they think that I'm worthwhile of the TED platform? Am I that big a success? Am I good enough? What was my worth? I started feeling like an imposter. But then, very consciously, I stopped myself. There is never going to be a stage in life when, as humans, we don't doubt ourselves. And it is very important for me to tell you what it is that drives me to going back to be me. And I knew exactly which part of my life I wanted to share with you that connected to the theme to tell you about who am I and why I'm here. And I'm going to tell you that through a story because I am a storyteller. These dots back there are a fair representation of me. Even younger, till now, I have some million ideas zooming around in my head. And they are zooming so loudly that I think a careful listener can actually hear them buzzing. I need to be constantly on the move. I either want to do 20,000 things at the same time or I can do nothing at all. I'm either supremely fired up or extremely lazy. There are a lot of people who can vouch for this. In the late 80s, I was fairly sure that I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. And I wanted to go out of home, I wanted to leave home to do my undergraduate studies elsewhere. And I was fairly sure that that's where my future was. My backup plan was to take up psychology with English honors. And both these choices were based on the fact that human behavior and the human brain fascinated me. So I was preparing, I was going through all the rigmarole of, attempting all these medical college examinations. And by the time I reached 12th grade, a person I respected immensely looked at me and asked me, are you sure you'll be able to put in 72 hours in 12 hours? Is that the kind of future you're looking at? Because that's what neurosurgery would demand. And that he didn't see me cut out for that kind of a career life. It was a light bulb moment, truly. Yes, I was someone who needed a career just as much as I needed my me time. So I got completely confused and I just didn't know what to do. And I decided that the profession is going to demand this of me and I would never compromise on the quality of the profession that I would deliver. So my best laid plans for a future lay dead. But then there was my second line of action, right? But my parents didn't see any strength in my second line of action. My father was very worried. He didn't feel that there was strength in the future in that. And I had to agree with him for whatever his reasons were. He said that I needed some kind of technical education. All I knew was that I did not want to do engineering or take up math because that just wasn't my cup of tea. So, like any 12th grader, I took all the major entrance examinations. Medicine, engineering, hotel management, architecture, and I got through all of them. But for various reasons, they got crossed off. At one point of time in life, I had dance under consideration too. There was a reason why I had to give up on that. But coming back, I had cracked a good aptitude score in architecture. It made me and my dad extremely happy. And I had a rank good enough which would have placed me in any college in Bombay. And strangely, I did not even know the meaning of A in architecture. But for me, the fact that I was getting out of home was good enough at that point of time. And it's now a nice time to tell you that home was Aurangabad. But yeah, the aptitude test, like I told you, had given me a good score. So there I was, standing in JJ School of Architecture, extremely proud for the counseling round, waiting to be told which college I was going to get a seat in. And they told me that my form had been rejected. And I was devastated. When I checked the form, I realized on the basis of my maiden name, Preethi Agarwal, which is a South Indian name, there was a clerical error input which changed me from a local domicile student to an outside state student. And for no mistake of mine, I was categorically denied a seat. Much like a Bollywood drama, my dad's office was in Fort, JJ School of Architecture. There was a lot of running around in 3 hours. I got my paperwork sorted and got back into the counseling round. The catch? They told me that I could only re-enter in the 3rd round of counseling, which allowed me only acceptance in one of the local colleges in my hometown. I was disappointed, yes. Sore, yes. But I came back home and checked out the only 2 campuses that offered architecture at that point of time, and this is in 1994. And I fell in love with this campus. I fell in love with JNEC. And here I was. Having now a very clear vision of this is what is to be, I researched architecture and I realized that it was a people's profession. And that set my vision clear. A people's profession, and I wanted to practice good architecture. Did it stop me from doing the 20,000 other things that I said that I always did? No, I just added architecture to my list. I'm sure you're wondering where the story is going because just wait. Cut to another part of our country, and my story shifts there. A silent, introspective boy, very sure that he wanted to be an architect and preparing to be so. He wanted to study architecture in a premier institution called CEPT, which is in Ahmedabad, and he was preparing for those examinations. Sadly, the year he was supposed to take the examination, he fell sick. So instead of wasting that year, he took an admission in a diploma college with a clear idea that he was going to reattempt the exam the coming year. As luck would have it, the next year, CEPT did not run the examination. So the boy, having done 2 years of his diploma, decided not to waste those 2 years and decided to finish his course and then take admission in one of the colleges that offered an undergraduate degree later. The straight thinking, quiet boy, a very clear, straight arrow, had very clear ideas about how he wanted to go about his life. And he came to know about this college in Aurangabad, which offered him something called lateral admission, which saved 1 year because of his diploma. And he landed up in JNEC as my batchmate. And that boy, my friends, was my soon-to-be better half. This gold medal winning diploma student and me landed up here at that point of time, found ourselves together when neither of us had planned to be. That's how we met. Well, life took its course. We got together, became very, very good friends, and slowly realized that we were meant to be. Both of us had a very clear idea on our life goals. Our paths were entirely different, but our goals were the same: a good architecture practice and a good life together. I'm sure that you're still wondering how this relates to my insecurity of, getting on the TED platform, or why I'm here and how it is architectural or meaningful. I only ask for a little more patience. So there we were, having finished our education at JNEC and having gotten married, we put up our architectural practice, our firm, which we called Alayam Designs in Jaipur. We were both very clear-eyed about what we wanted to design. We wanted to design everything we got an opportunity to. We loved variety and did not want to be tied down to a single stereotype or any one typology of design. How much ever it meant a longer period of struggle or lesser amount of commercial success. Yes, we went through both of those, but we were clear because we wanted to meet different people, listen to different stories, find solution to various contexts, whether in terms of people, place, site, or climate, and we built them all. We've built residences, small, big, colleges, universities, large group housing projects, hotels, hospitals, name it, and we've kind of done it. Each project had a story to tell, and each project has added to our design goal. Our practice reflects us. A chaotic me. I'm a mom, I'm a storyteller, I also teach in an architecture college. I write poetry. I love to bake. I've curated kids festivals in Jaipur. And currently, I've taken on, for the lack of any better reason, just because I was bored, I've taken on my PhD. All the PhD researchers out there, please don't get angry with me, but I do have an aim of doing a good PhD. And despite all this, I have architecture as my constant. And there is Mohit, who is this calm, solid rock who binds us together. In between the both of us, we create and we bring forth for our clients projects that bring them joy and us joy. We deliver what the projects want. We ask and connect those dots of everything that a client needs and what we think is right for the project. It kind of gives them a product of their dreams and our imagination. The duality between my husband and I allows us a conversation to ideate, conceptualize, and detail our designs. Our design approaches are like 180-degree opposites, but the product is where we culminate. Again, this is the success of our practice. And this is why TED reached out to us. And the fact that this came from our alma mater now made so much sense because all the dots came back to one. So where is this story taking us essentially? What is it that I want to tell you? So what do you all see on screen right now? Can I have someone responding if it's possible? A dot. So some of you see a dot. There's another perspective. I also see space behind that dot. I remember a long time ago when I got into architecture, a professor said exactly the same thing. Some people will see the dot or the circle, and some people will see the space behind it. But always remember that both of them are equally important. Both of them hold value, and both are where they are for a reason, because they need to be. The space has no value without the dot, and vice versa. The dot has no value without the space. So this takes me back to where I started my talk, where I consciously got out of doubt. Why am I here? I'm here because I'm meant to be. I'm someone who inherently believes that we are all meant to be where we are at this given point of time. If you take a step back in your own lives and think back to various life events, as some of the speakers have already been mentioning, you will realize that there is a connection between all these life events or the choices you made at that point of time. Whether they were right or wrong is different, but they've all led us to stand here where we are today. Whether those choices, like I said, were right or wrong, at that point of time, we really don't know. But that decision was made at that point of time to either keep us essentially satisfied, happy, or maybe due to some life compulsion. But that decision at that point of time was taken and would have made sense entirely if you have a very set idea on your life goals. So what do I mean by life goals here? I mean to say having a life goal, knowing who you are as a person, what you are, what is your makeup. I'm not talking about career success or academic success or commercial success. I'm talking about a life goal that is a product of the inherent you. So if you know yourself at every point of time, the choices you make will remain. Do we know whether our choices will all lead in the direction that we want them to take us, or we anticipate? This too may or may not be. I don't know if you people have seen it, but there's this movie MIB, Men in Black, Part 2, and there is this character who comes in and says, we are all here because a set of events have happened, and they've all led all of us here. And this is an entire set of consequences of where we stand today would be different if you had been 1 second somewhere else before, or I had been 1 minute later somewhere else now. That is KAIROS, as the Greeks call it. The opportune moment in time. As humans, I sincerely believe that that is what we need to take away. That is what I feel within me keeps me satisfied and happy. Do I have doubts? Don't I have doubts? Of course I do. Do I regret things that I've done? Don't I regret things that I've done? Of course I did at that point of time. Did I have life compulsions or struggles? Didn't I have them? Of course I did. I wouldn't be human if I did not question what has happened with me in life or some of the choices that I've made at some point of time. But do I live with those regrets? I choose not to. Do I live with those doubts? I choose not to. That's a choice I make very consciously. I choose to be happy with everything that has happened in the past. Those series of interconnected dots were meant to be. So friends, I could have had a lot many stories to tell you. Every human being goes through various sets of struggles and ups and downs. But this story really, I wanted to put out there because I represent this college as an alma mater, and this is one of the biggest dots and a series of dots that led to completely different human beings to the space which has made my life forward together. So I'd like to leave you all with 3 things. Know yourself. It is difficult, but you can reach that point. Second, trust the process. The journey makes everything worth it. The process is what matters. For each of the things that you've set out to do and for the overall life goal, you will achieve whatever the path is. And lastly, you are here because you're meant to be. I am here because I'm meant to be. It is a cumulative value of all the individual dots that have happened in my past and your past. You will be there where you need to be if your life goals are clear. Believe in KAIROS, the opportune moment in time. Thank you.